Hi, everybody. Karen Roby and Adrian Kingsley-Hughes here for ZDNet. We're talking today about iOS 13, those new privacy features. And Adrian, you put an article together here for this. Talk a little bit about the prompt, what people are seeing, and how they're reacting to it.
Well, surprise, surprise, yesterday some ad types out there released a report that basically said that since iOS 13 was released, they've seen a massive decline in the amount of location data they're getting from apps. And people who follow iOS will, or who've even installed it on stuff, will realize that after you install it, a few days go by and then you start getting pop-ups. These pop-ups say, did you know this app is tracking your location in the background? Do you want this to carry on or do you want to turn it off? And it seems like people are turning it off in droves. This article was saying that about 80% of people were turning it off, who they'd been tracking. They'd seen just this data just vanish. And I think that this is a fascinating thing. People don't know what their phones are doing behind their back. I wrote an article a couple of weeks ago that said, if somebody said to you, carry something with you that that will track you the whole time, people go, no, I'm not going to do that. Of course, that's a massive invasion of my privacy. But these phones do that all the time. And app makers for quite a long time now have had free reign over being able to take hold of location data and pull that, while users have been able to go in through the settings and see what apps are doing and make that choice. With iOS 13, Apple decided, no, we're going to tell people that you're tracking them. And that seems to have had a big, big difference. And I think one of the things that's had the biggest impact is that it's not just a pop-up that just randomly says, hey, did you know this app's tracking you? Are you okay with that? This is way more visceral because it pops up a map with points where you've been on it. And I think that is way more visceral for people. And I think that probably prompts people even more to go, hey, wait a minute. No, I'm not really happy about this.
Well, yeah, it definitely, makes you stop and pause for a second when you see the map. That's a really in-your-face kind of look at, oh yeah, we're really tracking you. Here's where you've been, and that definitely will catch people's attention. And whereas sometimes you just kind of see a pop-up and you move past it, but that'll definitely catch your eye.
Well, yeah, and I think Apple's done that very deliberately because I think we get kind of pop-up blindness. This thing wants to do this thing wants to do that. And these pop-ups all generally look very much the same. I think this showing a map, and generally that map being the place you work, the place you live, or the place that you go to have fun, I think that has a much more visceral effect on people. And it brings it home just what level of tracking apps are nowadays capable of. Now, tracking can be for good as well. I mean, I use Tile. I have Tile on my keys. I have Tile in my wallet, and that's great. I have to leave the app running in the background of my phone, but it's constantly kind of updating where my stuff is, and if I lose it, I can find it. No, that's a really cool use of that. But that was made explicit right from the start. This is what's happening. What we're seeing is a lot of apps, games, and other stuff who've been surreptitiously, and I'm not going to say maliciously, but surreptitiously certainly tracking people in the background. If these people would have decided, I am going to look through all the end user license agreements, they'd have known this already. But most people just hit install and off they go. These apps have been surreptitiously tracking people in the background. And now Apple, iOS 13, have just said, hey, we're just kind of going to tell people. And that's having a massive effect.
Yeah, and as you said, I think when we were talking earlier, it really, the ad firm is, yesterday, as they pointed out, it does really change things.
It does. And I think what we're going to see now is probably app makers maybe starting to offer people something in return for location data, maybe, or making location data, turning it into something useful rather than just something for them. There will always be people who don't care about this kind of stuff. And in some ways, I'm not one of those people who go kind of, this is a complete invasion of my privacy, this is a big deal. I'm sort of in the middle somewhere. I much prefer this kind of idea of informed consent. And I think what we're seeing through iOS 13 is that once people are being asked, are you happy with this? It seems that overwhelmingly people aren't happy with that. And that raises a question as to why people weren't asked about this in the first place. It is because most of these app makers realized, people would probably say no.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, Adrian, we really appreciate it. And of course, if you want to learn more about iOS 13 and the new privacy settings, make sure you check out ZDNet. Thanks for watching.